Morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm Reggie Wegman. I'm charge of Rules Regs. And I'd like to introduce our guest, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jen Green. I'm UC for 36C.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Connie Deanny, and I'm just a resident here in Missouri.
Oh,
Welcome. Thank you.
Feel different.
It's too kind to say. Oh, okay. Can we have a approval of the minutes from May 11th? Has everybody seen the copy of it? It took us a little while to get it because Rose was on vacation. And then, AI takes a minute, so I had to go over them and then figure out who was missing and who's. So, we have an approval, okay? We have one. Everybody second the motion?
Second.
Okay. My report. Well, I'm chairman of the Rules Committee, but I constantly get calls and emails about architecture and landscape committee questions. Well, I usually write back and say, please write to the ALC because they're in charge of a lot of things that we're not in charge of. I always describe them as like the Constitution, or maybe CCR is the Constitution, and we're the Bill of Rights. We do things, like that are everyday kind of normal, kind of common sense questions. And I don't know if anybody has stopped you or asked you about questions for the ALC. I asked them to please forward their questions, and they always write me back, but they never get an answer. There is a website that you click that says architect and landscape, SOH, whatever, but they never get an answer. And I have a few things I'd like to bring to them because the homeowner is not getting an answer from them. So if I bring it to their meeting, maybe we can get them an answer, or maybe I can give them the questions in person, let them handle it. So, but if any of you get a question that we think is related definitely to the ALC, and that's a mandatory committee here. Now, or maybe it's in the state.
The state.
Yeah.
Is it the chairperson or the board?
I don't know.
No.
It says on their website, it says architect and landscape committee, and it's a direct link. They never go into that and get the question. I've asked questions, I never got an answer. So I did attend one of the meetings, but I think I'm gonna have to go to more meetings because I'm getting questions that they have to answer.
And we request, I don't type thing.
Well, yeah, if we go to the committee.
We're just saying, find out who would like to be their response.
Well, I'm not gonna, they have to figure that out themselves.
I make a suggestion because, the association's hired management, and you can certainly ask those questions. We are at the one of the meetings.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's gonna send me
The CSP, email address.
Okay,
And then if it's something we can't answer in the office, we can bring it to.
okay, so that's gonna be in the minutes. So if anybody, serious to that.
Yeah, CSP at, SLHOA3.
Well, now can we follow up and see who is, who's supposed to be in the ALC?
Yeah,
Because that may have changed and maybe it's going nowhere.
right. So we have a couple of things to talk about today, so I'll wait for them. And Sarah, you're our board liaison. Do you have a report for us?
I do. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending today. A couple points that I want to mention. The board approved last month a strategic roadmap that would allow homeowners to understand what the priorities are for this year, what we as a board are focused on. So I have this printed out for you. I'm going to pass them around. Please take one and share them with our guests. This is the critical mass. However, there are other things in the background that are in process that will be going on, and that as they move through the process, you'll hear about them. But should somebody ask you, well, what's happening with this? You can refer back to this in answering the question, or you can refer them to Linnell, as she said earlier, with regard to what is the board doing. And we have a big slate this year, some big projects coming, as well as some projects that were initiated by the prior board that are in process now, like the maintenance yard. So be aware, there's a lot going on. And as a result of a lot going on, there's a lot of funding involved. So when there's requests made to change things or add things, all of the committees are involved, including Rules and Regs. So I hope that we will stay in the network of knowing what's going on as a vital committee, because Rules and Regs will certainly be part and parcel of that. In addition, I did review the wonderful work that y'all did with visiting all of the pools, and I look forward to discussing that as well. So the last thing I'll bring up is this. We have in our policy a requirement that says you serve on a committee for a certain period of time. And I know that Reggie has asked you, begged you, not bribed you, but it is time for some of you to think about your succession plan. You are vital. Your historical knowledge of this community cannot be archived. So I ask you to look and see what other committees you might want to be involved with and who you can bring to this committee. Reggie, for instance, has been a pillar of the community, and she's given so much to this committee, like Sharon with her committees. I ask that we try and bring some new people to the table so they can take a stake in this community going forward. It's not fair to ask people to serve for 5, 10, 15 years because no one else wants to step up. And I want people to understand that it's not that we don't want you. There is space at the table. All you have to do is raise your hand and say, I'd like to be involved. So I welcome our guests today and anybody who's watching this on Zoom or in the video when it comes out on YouTube to please reach out, not just to our committee, but to all of the committees, because the committees are the generation that helps bring forward the seedlings that then become potentially members of our board. And that's how I got to the board. I started with a committee. And the more I learned and loved my community, I said, I want to do more. So I hope that you will all think about that. And as you look at your friends and you look at your neighbors, think about, would this be a person that I would like to work with on a committee? Would they be a good asset for us? So thank you.
Oh, business, well, we discussed the lighting issue to death. It's not under our, purview. It's under the ALC. I've been in touch with a fellow named, well, he's called me because somebody from the community has threatened lawsuits against homeowners who are lighting up their patio late at night. And, yes,
It's reached that.
but it's reached a boiling point. I told them that I'm out of it. You have to deal with the ALC with this. They sent me the lighting fixture rules from the county, and the guy who's in charge is Charles Hart, and he's already written a letter saying that Sunrise has many lighting issues, and eventually they're going to come down here. So that's the only thing I can say about that. We discussed the noise from televisions, and that's covered under the nuisance laws, and the color and intensity of outside lighting is, like I said, ALC. Okay, so presentation of the rules and recommendations. Cheryl, Sally, Ann, and I went around one day and we examined each pool in the community. We started with Oakwood, we did the Oakwood, main pool, the lap pool, and the children's pool. We wrote out, Cheryl did all this work, and we found some issues that are like, we would suggest that there be another emergency phone placed at the other side of the main pool, because there's a phone underneath the ramada by the bathrooms, but there's no sign on the other side of the main pool where there's an AED over there also. And we think that an AED should be closer.
Oh, sorry, that come under health and safety.
Yeah, so we believe that AED, although I don't know now, the issue with AEDs and people in swimsuits. I've been out of, ACLS guideline for a long time, and, I don't know what the situation is. I still think you have to put tri-towels in. But it's something that we should think about. An AED should be, there should be another one placed over by the, cafe.
Accessibility.
Yeah, because the only one is already across the pool. We also found out that the back pool has a broken, lift. Did that get fixed? Well, do you not say what? The lift at the Oakwood pool, is it fixed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We also noticed at the kiddie pool and also at the main pool, loose strips of tape. And on the tape, it says blisters. So we were wondering, what was some blister?
We could, because when we went down to the pool, we saw
White spots,
on the.
little white spots that are actually bubbles, and they're coming from the inside, so they're pushing the paint up from the bottom of the pool.
So this is.
But we didn't know if that, blue tape was, anybody could pull it off. Did they address those issues now with
Well,
the
with some of these incidents that we saw, they have had, contractors out inspecting it, so those are hard to make.
So, but the
So
pool
the
decking,
NDAs where the blisters are to feedback.
so in the pool decking, that's been a mess for years. I don't, it's just the sun and the water, it just, and I think that when they do all those little patching, they last for about 6 months. And then, I don't know, is there anything on here that talks
Yes.
about the pool and replacing the pool deck?
Yeah.
Well, we can't replace the pool deck unless we're,
Work down on the.
The board approved some adjustments in the reserve, which include the pool, the open pool.
okay, good. That's one thing you notice. When we went over to the Boax pool, we found out that there's no, we talked about cameras also. There's cameras in the Oakwood kiddie pool and main pool. There's no cameras in the Boax pool. And there's no cameras in the Haley. I think if we had a camera in the Haley pool, we might have been able to catch these incidences that have been happening over the past few years. Any plan on putting a camera in?
I don't think it's on the board fire list at the moment. There's infrastructure that would need to be put in place.
Okay, at one time, I thought there was a pool lift in each pool, but there is no pool lift in the Haley, and there's no pool lift in the main. We need to have pool lifts. To the ADA compliance, the Haley and the Ironwood country and go on the green pool. But no lifts.
I know we have to have reasonable accommodations, so there might have been, because of other pools, they won't have those.
Okay, now the kiddie pool, we don't have one, but we don't need one on. Well, we do, I would think we need one on Haley and main buckets. The signage, signs are posted, but many of them are illegible or in the wrong spot. I we took some pictures, there's some pictures there.
Now they're small, like they should be in a hallway in an office,
Yeah.
instead of out in a large area where they just,
Or they're completely covered up by furniture.
standing.
So, I mean, we can go around and show you what we found. If you need some explanation.
And camera wise, there's some new Wi-Fi ones I just picked up from them.
And there is no, emergency phone at the, Ironwood Clubhouse. Now, is that because you think somebody could run inside and Dallas?
Yeah.
But that's not open all the time. So I think that should be addressed. I know at one point, we took all the emergency phones out, do you remember that? Were you here? You were not here? Okay.
Why would you?
Probably because people had cell phones.
The problem with our cell phones is that they shut off after so many minutes in 110 degrees.
Well, that is true.
So trying to use a cell phone with the bright sun, unless you're in the shade, then I'm gonna use it. And you can't control it.
Question on the emergency phone, where is it connected to? Is it go right to 911?
It should.
Yeah,
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're making the assumption it goes to emergency response.
right,
So the
which saves a step because the cell phone takes time.
yes, and the one that's in the main pool is underneath the pergola or
Very good.
over by the bathroom. There's a phone there, but there's none over by the poolside cafe on that side. Emergency phone. Well, we're talking about main pool.
I'm just saying, any place that you don't have lifeguards, we don't have people, we may have staff, but their primary reason is not to watch the pool or somebody that might have an incident.
Oh, absolutely. So we really need to look at that phone. At the Hadley pool and at the beach. The AEDs, well, everybody has an AED except the kiddie pool. God help us if that needs it. In the main pool, there's one near over there again where the bathrooms are underneath that Ramada. But it's not clearly marked, that's where it is. People should know where it is, or put another one up on the other side. I know that requires training and cost, but we live in a aging, well, a mature, community.
None of us
And
run
things happen. We know that all the pool depth, they're between 3 to 5 feet. Patrol observations, well, we were there for quite a while, we never saw one guy come through, a pool monitor or patrol. Goodness. Relax. At the Haley, there's that's where there's a couple of tennis courts there, and the signs need to be replaced there, they're totally washed out from the sun. There's also a barbecue there for homeowners to use. I think it should be removed. There's a propane tank there. Anybody can go and turn that tank on, use it. We were told that there was a family that came over and did all their barbecuing on our propane for a big party. We had this whole thing set up, did all this cooking.
Is that supplied by us, or is it somebody that just put a barbecue with them? That's my curiosity.
That barbecue was supplied by us. But I don't think, first of all, it's ancient. And the line running from the propane tank to the bottom of the barbecue is rusty. It's not good looking. And where it is, I don't know. I don't know why we even have that.
There's no fire extinguisher.
No fire extinguisher. I mean, it's not a great idea to have that unsupervised. That's my idea. I think we all agreed on that. That's not a great idea to have that.
Especially sitting out in the sun too, and it wasn't covered at all.
It wasn't covered, it's filthy dirty,
It's not anything, it's used.
it's used, and whoever uses it doesn't leave the flame on to burn the stuff up, but I wouldn't put anything on it, but, some people it's free, so they're gonna use it. There's a couple of issues in the main pool where there's electrical outlets coming up from the ground in the rock area where there's a few plants and a speaker. I think they should be covered with something, a rock or fake rock or something, because they're really pointy. And if anybody trips or gashes themselves with it, they're all rusty and kind of nasty looking. You know, they sell those fake rocks now, if you go right over that, it's about 3 or 4 houses each thing.
There's actually some big rocks there, but.
But they were oversteered.
And the fake rock is, I think it is a,
And I think a couple of those were exposed by tables that were closer that somebody picked up to put over, so.
it's not a good look. It's not a good look, and I think it could be dangerous. I mean, they've probably been there a long time. I don't know if people ever injured themselves in that, but it would just be nice if we bought a couple of empty fake rocks and just put them over the top. But the guys don't know, guys who work on that would know exactly what these things are. Our recommendations, especially for the Haley pools, is to start cameras over there. And fire extinguisher, get rid of the barbecue. Faded signs. Overall, taking on that. We need to have emergency phone over the green pool. And with the Boax pool, I think they should have a camera, you know, so because a lot of people go to that pool alone. Or with somebody else. Not that anybody's watching the cameras, but at least we can see what's happening in that pool. At the Oakwood entrance, on the pool side, the ramp, of course, the landscape level, it's not really a great thing to hold on to for people. It's very loose as you're walking up the ramp to get to the. Anybody who is walking with a walker and trying to, or using a scooter, there's a railing there now. It's almost coming out of the ground. It's just been installed. I don't know if they put it in right. Well, that's one of our also. And the locks on the pool gates are extremely difficult to open. It's been a problem. I don't know. They're on the inside. You have to stick your hand in, and if it is a double level of a lock. If you've got towels or anything else with it, it's very hard to manage opening those gates. They can't be loose, but I know that there's a problem there all the time. The guys, the maintenance guys are always there. And the main reason we're here today is to discuss the fact that many people in Ironwood would like the Haley Gate made an adult-owned pool. I don't know what that would do to the other pools. I'm afraid to think about it, but the Haley pool has been a disaster for the last couple of years with unruly children, grandparents and parents not disciplining or telling them to calm down. Was passed 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I think I sent you the letter from somebody who said it almost came to blows with a family coming in, kids jumping into the pool, dive bombing, rabble rousing, and the people who were in the pool, 10 adults from Ironwood, were very upset, and they asked the person to please have the children be a little more quiet. And the guy told them, under no circumstances will that happen. He asked again, the people in the pool asked, and they all asked him to please discipline the kids, or at least tell them to be a little bit more quiet. It's not up to us to tell the kids to do that, but up to the parents and the grandparents. And it almost came to blows. It was a very bad incident. No cameras to catch it.
I was there, Ian.
Oh, you were?
That's why I came.
Okay, great. Who are you? First?
My name is Jackie.
Okay.
I moved to Ironwood in December. I live 2 houses down from the Haley pool.
Okay.
I have been to that pool with my grandchildren approximately 5 times since December. They are aged 3 and 4. We were there on Saturday. When I moved here, there is a group of 10 adults, and they're every single solitary day between 1 and 4. They sit in the same exact 10-foot diameter in the center of that pool, do not move, intimidate and bully the other people coming in. When I was there with that 3 and 4-year-old, 3 adults, 2 children. I used to work in a pediatric office. My husband was a youth officer and a chief of police, and as a park ranger, we know how children behave. Nobody was screaming, yelling, running, jumping. The 4-year-old was jumping off the side of the pool into his mother's arms. Nobody was dive bombing, anything. And the man stood, the man said to my husband, "Your children are being wild." And my husband said, "No, they're not." And he stood right up and puffed his chest out and said, "Do you want to start something with me?" And my husband said, "No, I don't." And then the rest of them chimed in and said, "You don't belong here. We're homeowners. You belong at the kiddie pool in Oakwood." And I said, "The sign says I can be here between 12 and 3. It was 2:15. We were there for 40 minutes. And that's the reason I came today. Not because of it. They can play in a sprinkler in my backyard. I'm not going to be bullied and intimidated. That is a community pool. And if he wants his spot, he was in the 3-foot section. We were limited to the stairs and basically a 5-foot square inch because nobody would move.
Okay, well, we're hearing the other side of the story.
Yes, that's why I missed
It's a
it.
little, there has to be something.
Well, I wish there were parents because I'm not a liar.
Okay.
And I looked it up, it was bullying and harassment. There's a fine line and I looked it up. It was harassment.
You have a written statement or anything like to leave with us?
I can do one. Anyway, I just felt it was unfair, and I won't go back, because I'm not gonna put myself in that situation and be intimidated and be made to feel uncomfortable. And I told the man, I said, "I can't come here, I live 2 houses down because it's your pool, nobody else's." And I don't like that. It's their music, it's where he sits every single solitary day. If you want that, then you install your own pool, your own home. That's last.
Okay, what's your name, Jackie?
The last name is Bob, FOGG. Okay.
So we've had many incidences over there, not with your particular story, but with teenagers bringing coolers to the pool with beer.
I understand that.
And there has been problems there. And that's what's brought up the fact that a lot of people in Iowa, not just those 10 people, there's quite a few people over there who think that we should make that an adults only pool. In my opinion, I think making that an adults only pool is just gonna push the problem over to the Iowa. And if the Iowa pool, there's usually food and beverage manager over there, that's the only thing I could think of that would be different. But do we need to bring in a pool watcher during the times that the children are there, that the kids are there? Do we need that?
I mean,
How do we regulate poor behavior, no matter on which side it is, you know? How do we do that?
why doesn't he not go when it's children's time, go somewhere else during the 12 to 3?
Anybody has the right to go wherever they want, if they're permitted to.
Correct.
We are going under the aspect that everyone is being adult and using a reasonable group. But we now live in a time where I have my rights, I know what I want, and I'm going to get mine first. So what we were raised in has changed, so we have to deal with that playing field. There is a natural desire when you have been long-term someplace to have a feeling of possession, ownership. But I think possibly we're gonna have to look at rules for pool use for everybody on the new law.
This was in New City Tech, and I told them about this, I said, what do you think? How do you think we could ever solve this issue? It's human nature for everybody to want what they want. And I mean, the only thing would be to have somebody there during children's hours, 12 to 3, have a pool watcher there and make sure that people.
Can I make a comment? I know I'm just observing here, but I also have grandchildren. And it seems to me that kids are gonna make noise in the pool. I mean, we're all thinking outside our heads. If we think kids are gonna be in the pool, I'll be fine. They're not. They're enjoying it. They're running and they shouldn't be, but they're jumping in and they're screaming You know, and that's what kids do. That's what's fun for them, is to jump in that pool. But, you know, there is a certain noise level and, you know, a nice, hey, guys, right in just a little bit, you know, get sideways, something like that, rather than just the constantly puffing up the chest.
Correct.
But
There was none of that.
But wait, my other thought is, if there's been teenagers that goes with a cooler of beer, isn't that sort of a one-off of, that's security's issue to take care of, or somebody, I guess would be security. Those are one-offs. We don't change the whole plan because a few teenagers over the years have made those kind of.
It's been more than one incident, and, the grandmothers were asked to please don't send your kids over here. First of all, it's some of us.
Right,
Second, and third, those kids are not 21 years of age.
right, but is it,
Would they have
5 times over the last 10 years?
Oh,
Or is
no.
it happening 5 times a year?
If we had the gal who has been over there and been complaining about this problem, or actually documenting the problem, you'd hear that it was many, many times. So
And we're a senior community and not a public pool. So that changes.
Right, I get
they
that.
allow kids from 12 to 3. They're allowed to be there. You're right. Kids gonna make lots of fun. They're having fun. There's gonna be noise, but there has to be some kind of decorum. You can't just,
They can't be on the
your kids, okay, your grandchildren, okay, but there's a lot of them that are not.
I understand.
And there are people who were told, please not bring the baby in the pool because a diaper, so they took the diaper off and put the baby in.
And a lot of people.
So it's that core, that little section of
I understand.
that are just too entitled and don't want to be told things. And we're trying to come up with some kind of answer to allow everybody to enjoy the pool.
It's a hard thing.
And if we come up with rules where everybody's unhappy, we've probably got a good situation.
Yeah, right.
So either, any solution we come up, there's gonna be finances that are gonna be involved, whether it's camera, extra patrol, because those are.
And our patrol has no, they can come look documents, even they have no real authority.
They're straight.
So they have been, I don't want to say asked her, but they doesn't let you ignore it. I could do it.
Would you mean,
Yes.
one things?
This is Linnell.
Hi, Jessica. I'm Linnell, the Executive Director of Community Services. And first I'd like to ask if you could go to the Community Services office and fill out a report of this incident. And then if you are ever in a common area, pools or whatnot, on which you get uncomfortable, you can call patrol. And they can do a report right then and there, just so it's.
I was going to, and my husband said, don't bother. He said, I was out 30 years, people that act like that, don't waste your time.
It just helps us to track these incidences because it's hearsay. We can track how many times the police.
Yeah, and patrol was not even doing that incident.
No, I don't.
So you gotta, the empty barrels, you gotta really, they're at the point home that this has to stop one way or the other. It was making it very
The
uncomfortable.
rules say that kids can be there between 12 and 3. And the kids were there between 12 and 3. Isn't, they were within their rights, people that.
Yes, they were within their rights, and the issue of calling patrol would have been more about the feeling of harassment and bullying. It's not about that the children were in violation.
Right.
It's that for any incident in any of the properties, any common area, we have to call patrol. It's just like sending a comment
No.
card. It doesn't rise to the attention until there's enough heat on it. And so identifying it, patrol can get there as soon as they get there. They're the ones that can document it. They're also the ones that can look at the camera and try and determine who this person is. If there is to be a movement to talk to the homeowner, identify it, and even impose a fine if it's.
And there's several. There's one woman in the group. She doesn't even live here. She told me the first day I met her. She said, do you smoke weed? I said, no, I don't. She said, well, this is the party pool. I said, oh, okay. I said, that doesn't bother me, but I will participate. And, then she said, you drink alcohol? I said, sometimes, yeah. Like, well, why are you asking that? Anyway, but she doesn't even live here.
We'd
She just
certainly
said
like
she
to
used
know.
date somebody that lived here, and they broke up years ago, but she still has pets, and she comes every day.
Well,
So,
certainly would be something that
and that's one that's telling me to get out of here.
that justifies the contact with patrol
Yeah.
and
Document, names and addresses.
And she's the friendliest one. She's got the weed and the booze. She's got the weed and the drinks, yeah.
And I was here Saturday too, I really would have liked to be here. Well, I would have liked to have been called, but control would have contacted me if I seen what.
So let's
go back.
Okay, first of all, we need cameras. We need cameras, we need cameras.
And someone to monitor them, which I think would be the.
Well, they're not gonna monitor the camera, they don't have, they don't have this.
Yeah, they can't.
A call to patrol would work better than camera.
Okay, so a call to patrol,
We don't know everyone, we can't identify it, but if there's a person taking a report, then.
so do people in our community know that they can call to patrol for something like this?
Yeah.
Is there
No,
signs?
they don't.
I don't know how many times I can put it in San Luis, it was just in there Friday.
That's when I called patrol I'm new in the group, I got last year about this time, I'm Sally Ann here. Whenever I call patrol, they are gracious, they're nice, but he explains to me there's only one person, and he's all the way over in
It'll
Iron
take 10
Oaks.
minutes.
And he is following somebody who has been allowed into the community that's trying to spray houses for, and we've had some conversations, and I have, when we have patrol, but we only have one person that can't do anything, and he can come later and document, and I'm not disparaging the system, I'm just saying there's more of us than
Yeah, right, if you call patrol, they won't come even.
if they can get away with the other thing they're doing, somebody else feels important.
They won't come even.
This shouldn't happen at all, but how reoccurring is it? How often does it happen?
Quite frequent.
To me,
If we got reports, we would be able to know.
That's right.
Have it.
It's done.
But the-
Can we put a sign by all the pools, our patrol number?
Now, this young lady here, Liddell, is second in charge here at the Blue Star. And she is unaware of what's going on because nobody is reporting.
But there's the feeling when, of people that I talk
And
to.
it goes up like this, we have a meeting, we have a meeting once a month or every other month. It's not right. We should report it right away.
Well,
So Blue Star gets it handled.
we have had it in the stay in the loop many times. Now, I don't know, Dale, you said the other day that a lot of people don't even read stay in the loop.
We,
Do we have a number?
statistically, only about 60% of the people who receive it open it. They have no idea how long they are on the site to read it, or if they read it, but only about 60%.
But at least 60% do receive it,
Right.
look at.
So we've got, 7,000, 7,500 residents, which 5,800 people on the list here receive it. So about 60% of them open it, which means what, 3,400 people open it? Half of the population opens it? I don't know how many of those read it, right? So there have to be multiple ways.
But it's a means of getting something out.
It is one means, but we have to look at.
And what's-
Posted a sign up on the outside gate where it has the rules.
What, you say be nice?
No. That would be, please behave yourself. Could there be, so we put a little sign, roaming control number, because the patrol office is not open.
Oh, put the patrol number out.
Well, it has to be roaming control, it has to be the wrong one. So, and this way, if somebody doesn't remember it, it's
Good
well,
idea.
somebody else
Extra
access. It's just very frustrating.
When you were, so you're a new resident there, you probably have a big binder from Connie. Connie's a great, isn't she?
And she's wonderful.
So, because I know that she
All the
also,
ladies in your office have been great with permits and all this,
yeah. So I know every new homeowner gets a binder with, when Connie spends,
And they show up on the shelf.
and out, well, Connie spends an hour or so with each new homeowner going over contact information.
Is that mandatory? Oh, no, I need you to get it because I want to know how to use things. So some
It
people,
kind of is, yes. No, it's not kind of, it is, because that's where you get the gate cards and you know.
So,
Yes, yeah.
we put a little sign up that says roaming patrol.
I'm making notes.
Okay, so, well, let's start with that.
How would you be on this?
Daily Pool has to be the first one to get it.
And
I don't know why. Oh, but when the kids come to the main.
All of them should.
Always say, yeah, the first. But I don't know, I'm at the pool and the teenagers are there between 12 and 3. I was a teenager myself, and I have teenage, all around teenagers. They're gonna splash, they're gonna jump, they're gonna, you know, I mean, you're in the pool, you're gonna get wet. So, you know,
the school teacher, sit down, everybody.
so, you know, have a source of fact, floating around in a pool with a beer bottle, that's all. But how do we teach people to respect everybody else's?
If you draw the
Right,
wall,
have a nice time at the pool. Don't come between 12 and 3. Why don't we just make only kids?
yeah,
No adults.
I change the time for when that guy's not there.
But
I'll go freeze in the
I know, I don't know what the answer is.
Right, so talk to that if you had 1 to 3, and adults swim at your own risk.
That's what we know, we're on risk anyway, we don't have.
I mean, I can see that there's this period, I'm childless, I was a school teacher, they're great, I'm glad y'all have them, I don't want one. And I moved into a community for that purpose, okay, 1 to 3, you have designated for certain areas. And if you wish to go as an adult, you are going to contest with kids, but you are going to ask that the adults that accompany them also keep control. And when we put it, at least you set as much, nobody told me.
Well, I don't know, I mean, is it, we've discussed this many times, is it a grandmother problem or a kid problem? Let's go. So let's start with, let's put a sign up on Haley Pool as soon as we can. And then put it on whole pools, roaming control number. And hope that if somebody has a cell phone, that they'll know where to find that now. Cause my cell phone has a roaming control that Frank and I are.
And that's another thing, Connie will do at the beginning, she'll say, save this number to your phone during the presentation. Yeah, but that's, so we can take away from that.
Is there any way to do like a pressure orientation if people wanted to go, like? For instance, to me, I bought during COVID, so I didn't have a formalized orientation.
I don't think Connie was there, I don't think they did.
But that's what I'm saying, something like a
You've
refresher,
done it at unit captain meetings.
okay, because that might be helpful.
Does the board have the ability to have like a library of says, and here's in regard to this, or then going,
All this information is on the list.
okay, but I mean,
It's
it's
not a package.
not a video.
No, it's not packaged on the website, but it's all available on the website.
So just to put the pin in this.
Yeah.
Let's start with signage that identifies patrol, phone number. Patrol is roaming patrol, so let's get the phone numbers there.
And I have.
And
Rules and signs.
this information,
They're up. The big pool rules, but they're all fine now, they're all up to date, that we saw, right?
so all of this other information is really a courtesy to the management to let them know what we've discovered. And then management can determine what of it they're going to address or bring to the board for further consultation. From the rules and regs side, if our recommendation at this point is to not move forward with changing Haley to an adult only, but to make a effort, and that also involves communicating to our unit captain committee.
Right.
To communicate to their homeowners that we are making this effort, and to please communicate their issues with not just comment cards, but in the moment patrol. We'll use the next 6 months to track it because it's summertime and we're all going to have kids vacationing with us at some point. The bigger issue with the large parties and the teenagers seem to happen during school breaks.
And the interacting agreements from.
So let's look at that as well. and see what the next 6 month holds. If we can get a 6 month kind of analysis of how often patrol is being called for infractions or bullying or misbehavior, that at least gives us a context to say, do we need to go further? Do we need cameras? What's our next step?
Well, I'll tell you, from a personal standpoint, we need a camera. I've been through something here, some of you know about it, some of you don't. The cameras actually work in our favor, so having a camera up could be a second thing that we can do.
First of all, I like the point Sarah's making though, we get some data about, going to the board saying, hey, we need cameras.
So this is the first time we've actually.
And I understand that some people feel like calling patrol, they can't get there immediately, and they can certainly do it. Right, so let's, I would like to, yeah, I would like to see that message change, like, oh, don't call patrol. Actually, let's encourage people to call patrol.
Okay.
So they have backup, especially Monday through Friday, the backup, the supervisor coming here, well, it's not true. But we have backup that we can, if it's urgent, we can get someone over there.
And not only the people who are being offended, those who are,
Yeah,
like, your group,
yeah.
call patrol, you have just as much right to be there as anybody else. Whether your kids are well behaved or not well behaved, you still have a right to be there. I mean, we hope that grandmothers and grandfathers get the kids in line and don't splash somebody, but also, we don't own the pools. They're not just us, they're correct. Like, we've learned that lesson.
Quick question. This is Mickey. This is Mickey Front. The Haley Pool is where they have children from 12 to 3.
All the pools.
All the pools, except the BOAX.
So other than 12 to 3, the Haley Pool is an adult pool. Oh,
Yes. Well, every hour except 12 to 3.
Okay, and I just wanted, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure I understood.
So,
So is there really a need then to make the Haley Pool an adult only?
I think we're gonna, try to solve it before we have to do something that.
I think that the accommodation of 12 to 3 was to not have to make a kids pool for the limited time the kids are with grandparents in the property. So.
Well, the kiddie pool is open.
Right, but the
And
kiddie pool's
grandparents go
over
in
here.
that pool, yeah.
Right.
Grandparents go in the pool with those kids.
Yes, absolutely, but for those who live down the street from a pool, for them to have to schlep over to Oakwood to use the kiddie pool when there is a 12 to 3 accommodation.
We typically do go to the kiddie pool, but that particular day we had 40 minutes. I said, that's so up, and just let him jump in
And that's exactly why it's 12 to 3 every single day, so that you don't have to be put out. So before we turn it into adults only, and again, limit what grandparents have access to at Ironwood, we need to look at all of it.
I agree.
Well, sure.
So what I was asking is if we can, review what the verbiage is gonna be on the signs, because we want to say about the roaming patrol. But if it's a situation that escalates, they need to call 911, not patrol. Patrol can't do it, correct?
Yeah. Well, we don't want anybody, having
Fist fights, yeah.
fist fight or anything stupid like that.
Question, if you call 911 and the police or somebody come in, do they really have any authority in this?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, and you'll get the Sherman. We wouldn't get the police, right? Because when you pull 911, they ask you, is this a police or a
Medical.
police or fire? And, that's really.
My concern is if we don't clarify, we're gonna have an issue somewhere. Because we're so careful in our verbiage and how we do the rules and regulations. So I'm thinking if we're putting a sign on there and who to call for what, then, but it can't be real long to run with it in any situation. But I'm just saying something, I think that Otherwise, you're gonna just keep readdressing signs.
I think that most people know when they have to go on. When it gets to the point that it's really heated and there's gonna be, somebody's gonna be pushed, then you have to know.
As long as the discourse, it may get a little loud, but when you feel that your space is
Right.
being invaded.
I'm talking physical.
Right now, that. But here again, you're going to know, but when you get right down to it, we have adults and children behaving poorly. So it's a
In
lot,
some instances,
we have a behavior, how do you behave? When you go to that pool, are you know, it's not your private pool in the backyard, it's, you need to behave. Yes, the kids are going to scream and yell, but not at the top of their lungs, like when you say inside voice or over or whatever, but people have to. Oh yeah, and if you don't start someplace, you don't get it.
well, there's many people here who believe that they own this piece of the pool. And own the Haley pool.
They're delusional.
But listen to them, you know.
Are you doing, and sir, are you doing, a time frame for these problems?
I'm saying a 6-month review starts now. Clock's on.
So now you can, tell the CSD, you know, control guys.
And knowing that,
They might get more walls now. I hope that they do. But we can't give up with the state of the loop. That's our main, well, we can send something out to the unit captains.
And that's what we're going to do, but I need a little more information.
Janet is our, Janet works with the unit captains. We can have the unit captains send out a little blurb, we can write it together. If you're having an incident in a pool where you feel it's,
I'm not even gonna say pool, an incident.
an incident, please call the patrol at this number. We have to document what's going on.
And it needs to be stressed that it's for documentation as well as response.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's not finished until the paperwork's. We all know that. You've got to have something behind you. And this is actually the first meeting where, well, besides the meeting that we had a couple of years ago where we first were involved with the grandmother problem. We had 60 or 70 people at a meeting and decided, yes, we definitely have a problem, but we didn't do anything. So, pool signs, number one, we'll do some control. What do you think?
I put it in my notes, yeah.
Okay, so maybe also another blurb in the state loop about, when you're using the pool between 12:03, if you have children, please make sure that they're not, you know,
Splashing the adults.
well, yeah. No, well, that's we have a pool, everybody's like, keep outside.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Maybe also in that same statement article say, if you don't want to deal with children, don't go into the problem.
That's right.
Exactly,
Exactly.
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, that's
We'll say that nicely.
yeah, I'm just saying,
I'm gonna say that, but we'll say it nice. Remember, for example, remember 12-3 are for your grandchildren. Period.
There you go.
We are not to do that.
and to make sure that you are there with your grandchildren, even if they're 16, 17 years old. You're still supposed to be with them. You don't live there, so.
You know,
They must be accountable. So we'll start with the signs. We'll make sure everybody knows that they should follow control. Don't worry about offending them or bothering them. That's their job. Put another thing in the state of the loop if we can and send out something to give it about you know, warn everybody that we're watching you now, so try to be alive.
you know, I have a question about the entry, the key code access that we've talked about for the, it's already wired for Oakwood pools. Were we planning to do something similar with the Haiti pool or the Ironwood pool?
That's an infrastructure issue, so if the board puts it on their priority, I can look at that. Right now, we're just doing that.
And as I understand it, it can be used with the Kissy app. Can it also be used with the homeowner card?
Oh, homeowner card, no. Be like your neighbor.
So we'll be forced to bring our cell phones to the.
Well, so my question is, if you don't use the Kissy app, you would use your white gate card Does every homeowner have the white gate? Does every homeowner have a white gate card? So,
The white gate card that we used to use years ago was the only way we used to get in. But
And if you drop those in the pool, it doesn't take them out of commission.
I'm dropping
And the sun doesn't knock it out of mail day.
I have another question about the AEDs. Who inspects them and where is the records at?
I need to ask, our facilities team, I haven't inspected, I just don't know. It's specific.
Goes to the fire station. That's where it's reported to the people to know that if they ever need them.
you know, I'll tell you something.
Extinguisher.
I would like to, just as an aside, and I was gonna ask Gustavo.
You're two people, so I'm sorry, I can't. Go ahead, sir.
I was gonna ask Gustavo if maybe he wanted to put on, as a lifestyle thing, a presentation about how to use an AED, because we had an incident at the pickleball court yesterday, and I knew it was there, but I had no idea how to use it, and so I wasn't even gonna suggest it. Fortunately, there were some nurses playing who knew what to do, and then the people, ambulance people came. But I think it would be very helpful to have, a class for homeowners on how to use it.
It's a prompt, isn't it a prompt? Stand back. It's a voice activated AED. It tells you exactly what to do. But if you don't feel comfortable, at least do something. You know, at least listen, even CPR if you think the person is, need of it. You know, you don't want to use the AED, and it's not a bad idea to have a couple of classes, because some people wouldn't even know the first thing.
Right.
Won't be too scanty to say.
Well,
I'm saying wrong.
Or know when to use it.
Right.
Like it's there, is this the appropriate time to use it or not? While somebody's, because it took a few minutes. It was probably 15 minutes before the ambulance showed up.
My husband died on the tennis court and they had to use AED. And we went through it. Luckily, he was with two firemen that were retired and they remember him, and they started CPR and the court one ran out, someone died with it, and they used it on him. And it was a long time before they came. Luckily, he had no side effects, but they didn't know where the printout was. Their doctor and Medicare won't do anything if they don't have that printout. So it's really important to have it stated. By the time we got it, it was like a month later that he could actually get complete help. So, there's a lot of it. But a lot of people didn't want to come to the classes. And they did do that after that.
Okay.
So I don't know, that's another issue.
I think our fire department will, we could work with them, all the staff could work with them and try at least they on their classes.
Yeah.
We love our environment, so, yeah.
And the vendors will also show you.
Yeah.
That they're happy to do that. And when you have the ones that prompts, people just need to feel like, what can I do? Or at least be exposed to it rather than like, put it on.
Okay, before we end, so what do we have in plan? Right?
Mhm.
Let's track some of these 6 months. Let's try to get everybody on board to at least respect everybody else's right to use the pool. There are many hours in the day, it's just like pickleball. You can be there or not be there. Nobody, not one person owns that pool, everybody owns the pools. So, we'll start from there and hope that we can come up with a good idea. And now, our guests would like to make any more comments.
I just would like to say thank you for listening to what I had to say today. I appreciate it.
That's for coming.
I was,
Anybody else? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn? And vote? Okay, thank you.
That's our job.